Hey y'all, welcome back to Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. Hope you're doing great. It is Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. And this video, we're checking in with the meat bird flock. They moved in July 25th, 2024. They go to the processor August 28th, 2024. So as far as production length, this is day 14 for them. So right at 2 weeks old, and we have a great start with this flock. They started with 433 birds. We are at 427. I'm going to talk a little bit about their numbers. We'll take you into the barn, let you see the flock, let you see how we have them housed, and talk about how our ambient temperature has been. That is such an important part of raising meat birds, the ambient conditions around them. So if you're familiar with Cornish cross meat chickens, you already know these are chickens that are unique and really distinct from egg production chickens. If you're familiar with them, you already know that Cornish cross meat chickens are really raised for poultry. Here's our little friend Tanner. He is just the sweetest little fella. I'm not sure what you're getting in the camera there. Actually, I'm just holding it down hopefully where we can see him, but he's a good helper. He likes to accompany us to the barn or wherever we're going. So let's go ahead and head over to the barn. This is a wood construction barn that my husband and my 3 sons actually built. It's fun for us to look back at pictures and see our teenage sons actually up on the roof and on the ladders and in the truss work doing all the work. We have a 30-foot by 30-foot main portion of the barn for housing the meat chickens. And while we're in there, we'll talk a little bit about the inspiration for that, because we frequently get questions about why we don't put them out on pasture, why we don't raise them outdoors, why we use a confined system. So we have the main space for the birds, and then off to, it'd be the left as you're looking at it, I believe, through the screen, a couple of sheds actually sit there. And one, we kind of joke, is the chicken shack. It holds the freezers for the storage space for the poultry produced from the chickens, and in the back there's a shed too that was intended as office space. So in a way, as we're looking at the building, there are some things about it that we sort of had plans to complete further, but left unfinished to kind of see how they work. So this video is just a catch up on the flock that's here now, and throwing in some of the information about the questions that we frequently get asked about raising meat chickens. So thanks for joining us. There is a little bit of excess paraphernalia sitting around here. So the trailer we use quite frequently. We actually will haul birds to the processor on the flatbed trailer when weather is favorable. We have some pieces from an old pickup truck sitting here. So this truck had been on the road. In fact, back in December of 23, it took a flock of meat birds to the processor about an hour and a half away from where we live, and that was really its last road trip. And then its next trip out, there was a hydroplaning incident that ended real bad, and so that truck was permanently disabled at that point. So since then, the guys have been parting it out, scrapping it out. So the last thing that left was part of the frame. Somebody actually wanted a part of the frame that had a particular cross member on it that was going to work for something they needed. So we're down to the rear axle and the fuel tank. Really, that's and a hitch that had been part of it. There had been a gooseneck hitch, I believe, in it, and it sold. But anyway, so this is a flower bed that we enjoy. If you can imagine, there used to be a set of swing sets here. Hey, while we're here, before we go into the building, show y'all a couple of plants up here. So we started some spaghetti squash seeds from a store-bought spaghetti squash. So we had just started them recently and started them in other pots and transplanted them here. So the soil here is very compacted and very dry, even under good conditions, because it's, you know, a little bit of a hillside. So that's one set of them. We hope they make it. Here in just a moment we'll walk down, I'll show you a set that's doing better. But those are spaghetti squash, and they only need about 70 days to go start to finish. So we'll see what we get. And then this is an apple tree that had been planted several years ago, and we got 2 apples off of it recently, and then we spied there's some more apples on it. And look over here. So this is the first season that this tree has produced apples. How about that? So anyway, so let's head back down to the barn, and as we do, we'll pass those other spaghetti squash starts. So these are doing way better. Way better. Look at that. That one's small. This is probably the fleshest one. And there. So we're going to have a lot of spaghetti squash. A lot of spaghetti squash. So, okay, let's head in here.